skill story of Odisha started in 2016 when the Skill Development Authority was formed to create a brand Make in Odisha. Skilled in Odisha. So 7 years have now elapsed. And what do you think? How far it has succeeded?
So I first want to place on record that the skill story actually did begin in 2016. People give me undue credit because that's the year that I came. Actually, this skill story started in 2014. And 2014, when the government came into power, that particular 2014-2019 mandate with which they had come, in 2014, the government set itself a target for doing skill development for 1.2 million youth. And many different departments within the government were doing it. Each was doing in its own way. So it so happened that Mr. Naveen Patnaik, actually felt that it needs to be harmonized. And it needs to get a certain sense of vision and certain sense of direction. So 2016, out of the blue, I got a phone call from him, and I just stepped out of Mindtree for 4 days only, hoping that now I could read, write, teach, and travel. And lo and behold, his phone call came, and he said, "Why don't you come?" And this is the idea of this gate, to set up something which will not just look at skills for employment, but look at skills for human transformation. That's very important to him. And the human transformation story is about making intergenerational change, particularly with emphasis on the girl child. So with that, it took a different momentum. So it didn't start in 2016. It got a different momentum. And when I discussed what his vision was and how he wanted it to be set up, his thought process was that it is not enough to do skill development. You need to build reputational capital. Odisha is, we pride ourselves by saying that we are the best kept secret. Okay. But it can't be a secret for a long time. It doesn't help to be a secret. Some people say in the West particularly that you have to be loud and proud. I'm not saying you want to be loud and proud. That's contra culture for us. But at the same time, you don't want to be in the shadows. And we were in the shadows. Okay. So his vision was that we need to build an organization which will pull all the different parts together and do that under an umbrella called Skill in Odisha, so that it builds reputational capital. The reality is that, because Odisha has, as a society, not encouraged small and medium entrepreneurs. Okay, there are not enough employment capacity. Large industries don't create employment. Okay. Employment is created when if you have 20 more Manchesters, okay, run by Odia entrepreneurs. If you go anywhere in the country or the world, outsiders don't come and set up a small or medium enterprise. It's always a local person. So, because the local entrepreneurship, we have missed that bus as a society for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? More than that. So our people, when we skill them, have to go outside the state, most of them. That will change over time, but not immediately. So when that migration happens, skill is a naked thing, okay? Let me explain what I mean by that. So if you are a journalist, if you're an economist, if you're a historian, you can fake your way through a little bit. Okay. But if you're a welder or you're a nurse who's inserting a catheter, in a split second, people will know. You know it or you don't know it. Okay. So here our kids will skill them They will cross Visakhapatnam on this side and Kharagpur on the other side, go to NCR, go to Mumbai, go to wherever, Chennai. And then their capability is out in the open. Right? Sports, cinema, and skill. It doesn't take time to figure out you have talent or you don't have talent. So when this kid goes outside of Odisha, has to compete with her counterpart from every part of the country. And people will take a split second to figure out. So Mr. Patnaik's vision was that we need to create an umbrella so that that umbrella of a reputational brand precedes the arrival of this kid. Okay. It is not enough to be highly competent in today's world. You need air cover. So Odisha Skill Development Authorities was among the many charters was to create that air cover. So here is Odisha, 2016, and nobody knows us. People know us about our, art, literature, culture, our Lord in Puri, and everything else. But nobody thinks about Odisha promoting a girl child who can do industrial vending. Okay. So, between 2016 and where we stand today, I think we have been able to create that reputational capital. That Odisha is somebody in the world of skill development. Okay. I just came from Delhi this afternoon, and we're meeting people from across you. And there's a certain buzz and there's a recognition that we figured it out. Okay, we know what we are doing, and we are being seen as a role model by other states. Okay. Now, I think there was a time when we were not known as a state. When you think about manufacturing 2.0, you think about drone technology, you think about biotech, you think about, industrial grade, producing welders, electricians, air conditioning, refrigeration technicians. We were not the go-to place. Then came a time when we were considered in the preceding few years to be a leader in the world of skill development. But today, we are getting into the next phase where I think from leadership, we are being seen as a thought leader. That is the backdrop against which the Odisha Skill Conclave is being held on 20th and 21st April. And the purpose of Odisha Skill Conclave is to present ourselves not as a chest-beating state. That's not our personality. To say that come to Odisha, this is a platform. If you have a great idea about skills, skill development, and skill development is a very, very nuanced, multi-layered thing. It is not just about skills. It is, as I said, it's about social transformation. It is about fair wages. It is about, making intergenerational change. So we are saying that Odisha will be a sandbox for innovation. So whether you are a great organization in India, a great employer, great skill developer, whatever field in which you operate, where you have a viewpoint or opinion on skill, come to Odisha. And this is the platform from where ideas must take off, new beginnings must happen. I'm giving you a long answer to a short question, but you are responsible for it. So what has happened is, from nobody to somebody to someone, that is a transition that has taken place. Do I wake up every morning saying the job is well done? No, I don't. I feel that I always, wake up in the morning to say that thousands of things that we still have to do. And skill is not magic. You don't push a button and produce a world-class nurse. Right? It's like, how long does it take to be a great journalist? Howard Gardner, the man who talked about multiple intelligences for the first time in the world, he actually was the first person who talked about how long does it take to build an expert? And came to this empirical theory that whatever area you pick and choose, if you want to be called an quote unquote expert, it requires 10,000 hours of work. And it's been proven that whether our intern, will become a star journalist, right? She's updating her Facebook page right now, which is fine. So it will take 10,000 hours of great work to be called an expert. That applies to a welder. That applies to a nurse. That applies to a teacher. Okay? That applies to a maestro. Apni jodi Odissi dance sikhibe, you want to be a tabla player, you want to be a fantastic crime reporter, it will take 10,000 hours of work. So, when you talk about skill development, there's so much work to be done. So, I think we have a vision, we have the resources, we have the template. Vision is important, resources is important, templates are very important. So, Indian Express, for example, is not just a newspaper, it's a template, right? So, if you look at World Skill Center, right, it actually combines a vision that in life it is important to create things which are too large to ignore. Okay. So, there's a vision, there's a resource. That place has got $102 million worth of equipment and intellectual capability. You spend $102 million in a state like Odisha. And third, you also have not just the vision, not just the resource, but with that the template. What is the template good for? It's basically saying, if this was possible, 10 more things can be done. My dream is to see not just one World Skill Center, but 4 World Skill Centers in Odisha. But look at this. The phrase World Skill Center is a trademark phrase. Nobody else can actually assert that. There will be no other World Skill Center by any other state. Right? So it takes some audacity, right? Audacity of hope. Okay. It takes a certain audacity to say, this is my entitlement. Hindi re jo kahte hamara hak banta hai. Okay. It hamara entitlement. We will do it. So now the thing is going forward. What is it that we have to do? Because we can't just fall back on past glory. But I think today, I feel confident, back to your question, I feel confident that we'll be able to go to the next phase of the journey. And that next phase is not about domestic benchmarks and domestic competition. That one is about global benchmarks, global competition, global relevance.
So, coming to skill training, the Odisha Skill Development Authority has set an ambitious target to train 15 lakh youths under Chief Minister's Employment Generation Program. What has from 2019 to 2025? 24. Sorry. What has been the progress in this area?
Yeah, I anticipated this question, and I think what has happened is that we will have to move the goalpost by 2.5 years, right? Because COVID actually wiped it out. Skill development, and a mucho kamo kare, 80% of my target group are at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay. Skill coin to loko MTech, BTech, skill wali coach. My world is 5th, 8th and 10th class dropout. Okay, they're 80%. 20% है ITI Polytechnic छुआ. So my world ends with ITI Polytechnic. ये जो 80% कथा कहली मु आपन तो आपन मंचेस्टर अछंती साई एक्सपोर्टर के आदित्य बिल्डर एठी यूनिट अछि जो जब ने जानसी गवर्नमेंट ऑपरेटर, right? They're a big part of my work, right? This training is an intense 2.5-month residential training. Okay? Both लोग जानी न थे ओडिशा रे जे the number one जब हमें बैंगलोर को IT capital को simply the government knitwear capital of the country is Tirupur. 6 lakh लोग काम करते. It's 42,000 crores was their export 3-4 years back. So 6 lakh workers were, and a sizable majority, a sizable number of that are actually our children. Now, age of training for becoming a garment to work in a garment manufacturing setup, you have this residential 4.5 months. So all those setups have to be closed down. You can't teach somebody how to work on a high-speed knitting machine by watching YouTube videos. Affluent middle class online you can't do that. So the entire infrastructure, the government works with what are called program implementation agencies. So these are basically private sector people. They many times set up their infrastructure, sometimes rebuild infrastructure. The whole thing got completely wiped off. So my personal sense is that we are now on overdrive, and I think in 18 to 24 months from 2024, God willing, and we shouldn't have any external exigencies. COVID type cycle, it will really be very terrible. So if that doesn't happen, I think we are not abandoning the target. We are basically saying this is an unusual situation, and we'll move the goalpost by about a couple of years. We'll still be there.
Sir, what about skill mapping? What has been the progress in this?
Can you elaborate on that? Because terms like skill mapping tend to be very stretched. What do you mean by skill mapping?
COVID happened, a lot of people came back, right? The migration happened and all that. I believe during that period, there was an announcement that a lot of people have come back and the government is going to launch a skill mapping exercise to know, okay, what are their skill set, and there would be a dashboard kind of thing where everything is uploaded. Some kind of a assessment to know who all have come back and from what kind of sectors and what would be the definitive skill sets and all. I think that's what. Have we done that kind of an exercise?
Actually, as a nation, we are very good at rhetoric. And one of the problems of India and Indians is that we trivialize things. Migration, so one of the important requirements of being government is that you must have a viewpoint. You can't say, I don't know. Right? And you are completely at pressure. And set the situation of COVID. So you want to be seen as correct. You want to be seen as knowing where you are going. Okay? It doesn't matter whether that's true or not. So for the moment, you can move on. Right? So we are going to do a portal. We are going to do skill map. Portal is a much abused word. Okay? Portal gote hejibo tapare loko asijibe फटाफट कीबोर्ड रे बाडे देबे जो लोकटा सूरत रु पळे आछि कि आ कोट पळे आछि से संगे संगे तार गोटे मैट्रिक्स हेजो गोटे हीट मैप हेजो एंड तापरे आपण तो डिजिटली ट्रैक करो इज लाइक दैट सिंपल सो I must tell you something very interesting. When I took on this job, I said that I will forget IT. And then, digital would have been very easy for me. I came from that world. All my life I spent in information technology. Jo lokota pilla chua dhari kuri cycle on an empty road, ଗୋଟେ ଶ୍ରମିକ ଟ୍ରେନରେ ବସିକି ପଳେଇ ଆସିଲା what was the biggest priority for the government? The biggest priority for the government was to make sure that taku ago 14 दिन क्वारंटाइन रे रखा हबो ताकू खायो को पियो को दिया हबो ता हातरे कोलांडी बलांगीर भलिया जगह रे गंजाम भलिया जगह जे कोन से डिस्ट्रिक्ट रे people came without money, right? There was distress, there was human distress. If you ask me, I think the country, more particularly our state, did a phenomenal job. Okay, country the Bhagavan chale dele, right? Here the system actually took care. And that moment, it was management of human distress. It was like managing a massive refugee crisis. Okay? City, you had to give that person shelter, you had to give that person confidence, you had to give that person food, you have to manage the social process so that there is no tension and distress. People in that moment jump in and say, we're going to do skill mapping, artificial intelligence charita graph bahari padibo तापरे हमें जाए कि तक फिट कर दबा तक कहवा तुमको चेन्नई जीवा दरकार नहीं तुमको अपस्किल करके मु वर्तमान पठे देबी तुमको आ कोठी life is not like that. So I think when we say things like this we trivialize. And it's not necessary. Why say things which are irrelevant? So what happened to that person? The moment that person actually saw that the danger is now ameliorating, the human being, you're dealing with a human being, you're not dealing with an object. Se lokota taro pedi bakso dhurila se odha jinso patro chhadi ke aschi dudu aschi seti taro familiarity achi seti se akho pakho podisa re charta lokongu janichi seti taro one employer achi se taku kahitla tu ja na boli rahi ja ke din kosto re. Okay. And you will remember that employers actually sent buses and sometimes they sent airplanes to get their people back. So this was a human crisis. But independent of all these things, I think in India, we need to say things we mean, we deeply mean. And it is not necessary to be correct. It is not necessary to be, seen doing the right things and saying the right things all the time. It's not so easy. I'll tell you a very simple thing. ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ଟ୍ରେନ୍ କଲା ପରେ ସରକାରଙ୍କ ଗୋଟେ ଇଏ ଅଛି ଯିଏ ଟ୍ରେନିଂ କଲା ତାକୁ ତ ଟଙ୍କା ଦେବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ. So our performance is linked to what? 70% of the people you will train, they have to have employment. Then the government will give you the balance money. So our proof kona? The proof है जे आपनो से 70% employment पाइले, तारो proof देबे जे तांकरो 3 मासरो salary certificate देखेवे जो थे तांका provident fund deduction हितो और ESIC deduction हितो. Very nice. 96% of employment in India is in the non-formal sector. As journalists, you know that. Key ESI अच्छी तो, key provident fund अच्छी. अपने Manchester में जान तो cash rate payment होगा. That is the India story. Okay. You take an ITI kid, you take a polytechnic kid, you take a polytechnic probably not, but ITI kid to जो all the blue collar workers, most of them get paid in cash. Okay. So look at the hurdle. And I am government, so don't get me wrong. Okay. So आपण कहबे जे बर्तमान 3 मासर ये पेस्लिप आनंतु ताबे ये दिया पेस्लिप पास को धरंतु भी आसला. सो बर्तमान हम ट्रैक करियो से पिला ट्रैक करियो केमति से सेटिंग पहुंचला बेंगलुरु, राइट. मो आपनो रियल स्टोरी कुछ बेंगलुरु गला जो प्लेसमेंट हला तार ओडिसा रे तार सांग अछि से आउट कंपनी रे काम करू सी पिला कहला जे केते पाउछु 12000 तू केते पाउछु मु 15000 पाउछु. सो संगे संगे ये तक नहीं कि सेटिंग ସେଠି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲା 12-15 ଭିତରେ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସଟା କ'ଣ ଯୋଉଠି 12 ସେଠି ତାର ପ୍ରୋଭିଡେଣ୍ଟ ଫଣ୍ଡ କରୁଥିଲା ତାର ESIC କରୁଥିଲା but that kid doesn't see value in that ହାତରେ କ୍ୟାଶରେ ଏତିକି ସେଠି ଚାଲିଲା now ଏଠି ରେକର୍ଡରେ କ'ଣ ଅଛି ସେ he's gone to place A he's already gone to place B the moment has gone to place B is out of documentation then there's mobile phone okay हम पाखे मोबाइल नंबर अच्छी पिला कौनसी पिला छोटो पिला मोबाइल नंबर कांस्टेंट रखती ओके बिकॉज़ आज जियो आसी नुआ फोन देला बिना पैसा ता सिम कार्ड चेंज हेगा फोन चेंज हेगा इन अ कंट्री Aadhaar is a miracle there's an overhead to tracking is not simple tracking is not easy on an ongoing basis. So I think when we talk about skill mapping, to follow it through all the way, where you can actually do something with such data, it requires depth, capability, and persistence. I think we have a long way to go.
So, in ITIs, the strength of girl students, what I read is 20%.
About 22%.
22%. Okay. So now with skilling being the focus area, how do you plan to increase the strength in the next 5 years?
It'll happen. It'll happen because that 22% is actually the tough thing is behind us. 2016, when I took over, it was 6%. And we did many things to say that by 2020, I had said that it should be 33%. But because we said 33%, we are at 22%. But, the ITI story is now, it has become a wave, it will happen. The bigger story is, this year, we are saying that 50% of polytechnic seats should be girls. Okay, so that's the big one. So the ITI, 33%, I have personally moved on from that. It'll happen. See, 50% in polytechnic is a bold step, and I'll tell you why. After engineering college, आपको भूमि वाले पढ़ुचंती, जियो वाले पढ़ुचंती, जियारी वाले पढ़ुचंती. Already जियो 50% पर reaching, they'll cross 50%. Polytechnic is just not. Now, ITI or Jio still will have hurdles. Koti kamu karibo, koti jibo, okay? Ko type of kamu karibo. But a polytechnic qualified girl will not have those kinds of issues. Will get a better quality job. Will get not a blue collar job but a grey collar job. Okay. So polytechnics are ideal for the girls, also for quality of employment. ITI pilaku Manchester it's not like Singapore where they will see value in the skilled workers capability. But polytechnic polytechnic will not actually have lower quality of employment. ITI, one of the reasons why it's a 6% or 20% here is a scheme called Sudakya. Sudakya scheme we said that whether you are SC, ST, OBC, you are creamy layer, whatever it is, Geopila jodi asla, all expenses will be picked up by the government. Uniform, khaiba, piba, so. Age of budget, budget, we extended this Sudakya scheme to polytechnics. Now, jodi gote odia, thank you so much. Eta lecture polytechnic enrollment arambho hoyal. And I have said to every collector, 7 days back I had a conference call with all the 30 collectors. I've said that we have to make sure that this enrollment year, 50% of polytechnic seats in Odisha, government ho, private ho, should be actually taken by the culture. So, we want to be the first state in the country where 50% polytechnic seats will be taken by girls.
Sir, there's also a program called Nano Unicorn Program. I'll just share a small story. We have done a bright side story on a youth from Panahandi, I believe, who was trained under this program, and he operates a sweet shop. From that that money that he makes from the shop, he gives free coaching to slum children nearby.
Where is he?
I think he's in Panahandi or Balangir. We have done a story on this.
Please connect. I
I
want
will
to see that kid.
Right. Sir, how successful has this program been at the grassroots level?
Very tough. Very tough. It's very tough because it's very tough at multiple levels. Okay. এই ধরনের প্রোগ্রাম কথা বুঝিও বলে আমি আগে এন্টারপ্রেনারশিপ জিনিসটা আমি বুঝিও করি এন্টারপ্রেনারশিপ anywhere in the world has a success rate of 4%. Okay. We think it's a romantic idea, right? If you start 100 companies, they can be Panodukan, they can be Infosys. Okay. In the beginning, when you start a business, the hurdle rate is the same for, Google, Infosys, and Montessori, Panadukan. So, 100 আরম্ভ করলে 5 বছর পরে 4টা will be standing. So, by design, nature does not want everybody to succeed. But when 40% যদি 5 বছর পরে ঠিয়া হই রইবে তাহলে আপনি সেই 40% কিন্তু 50% করে ফেলবেন. That is the entrepreneurship game. Okay. So what can you do? You can manage the top portion of the funnel. Bottom রে 40% ही मारेंगे. So you have to push more people on the top. Now, programs like Nano Unicorn will have to be actually multiplied 100 times, okay? So that we have more successful entrepreneurs. And that cycle is not an overnight cycle. It takes 5 years to 10 years. Which up to 4% coily, it's a data by Babson College, which is a US college that does actually longitudinal study of the input-output conversion. They're the benchmark for entrepreneurship study. So, Nano Unicorn program, where till now there are about 500 people who have succeeded. So, 500 mane apno look at the number of people who have had to start, right? But something very interesting is happening now. Okay. So, Nano Unicorn program is now been raised to the next level and next level. Nano Unicorn program रे गोटे unusual जिनस थिला सेटा हला जे आमे कहिलु जे तार फंडिंग ता गवर्नमेंट करियो. Okay. Because the moment government fund is used in the Nano Unicorn program, then audit ho. So 4% के कला कोटी कला केमिति हला. So we said government will be the platform. आमे ITI करूछु पॉलिटेक्निक करूछु आमे पिला नहीं आसीबु. We will do talent scouting. And philanthropic capital will come in, okay? And the philanthropic capital will come in for social consciousness. जो मैंने टंकाटा देवे, पिलाटा से टंकाटा जितने फेरे दबो, सेते बड़े आउजोड़े से टंकाटा पाए. That was the basis. So that program has now, I mean, proof of concept का कॉलम करे. और that program has been given to an organization called Tata Strive, and they're running it. So that will continue. But something hugely exciting is happening. That excitement is going to be around these self-help groups. All of you know that Odisha self-help groups are a benchmark. Okay? 6 lakh self-help group achanti. 6 lakh no 7 lakh 70 lakh city ma mane achanti. But they have been in the last few years been doing same thing over and over and over again. Je pampado korchla se pampado korche. যে গার্মেন্ট করছিল সে গার্মেন্ট করছে. Now, what they did not realize is that they were not doing pampad or garment or achar or something else. They're actually potential small and medium enterprises. मुझे आपको कहते जे ओडिशा जो तार अभाव थिला. So, the as is condition of the mission shakti capability is the 7 lakh self-help groups who are doing what they're doing. But just imagine the could be and should be capability. That range that I talked about. Is 7 lakhru jodi 10%, 5% भी बाहरिले, जो माने will become small and medium enterprises, ago small paper medium, that will actually revolutionize things. So what we are now doing is that World Skill Center will become has become a partner organization to Mission Shakti, and we are selectively bringing in Mission Shakti's members who are now potentially at the cusp of things. जो माने next stage को चलने पे. So they will be given the entrepreneurship training, and they'll be matched with access to capital is not a big deal anymore, right? जोटा 10 वर्ष 15 वर्ष तले थिला जे linking to capital was a big deal. आज जने 70 जदि गोटे छोट वेबसाइट आरंभ करि परिबो, right? It's not a difficult thing to raise a lakh of rupees or 2 lakhs of rupees if you have the skill and the technical capability. But the missing link is, at that level, do you know how to market? Do you know how to keep accounts? Do you understand the difference between cash flow and profitability? So what World Skill Center is already started doing is that we will do what I actually affectionately call the Ma MBA. Okay. So Ma manku jodi ame se MBA gote chotto Ma MBA 15 din no Ma MBA kardale, right? At least smartest within all are the mothers. Right? They will take over. So I see that. So narrowly recall was a proof of concept. वो बारंबार से proof of concept करेगा. Proof of concept फिर तो अपन template के लिए. Now we figured it out. It's a template. And the powerhouse of Odisha, the real powerhouse of Odisha, is the self-help groups. Unbelievable things will happen in the next year. That's my prediction.
Early, in childhood days, from Patna to work as a clerk in the industry department, and then go from the Mindtree. How was your experience and journey?
It's how do you expect me to pack a lifetime into one question? It's not just a lifetime, actually. See, I am an observer, right? Through my life, I'm lucky to have a sensitivity that I see all of us journeying together. So you call a partner to Mindtree to today. It's a journey. So I'm 66. Right? Gote choto chuara memory aramb hue 3 ବର୍ଷ ବୟସ. So partner ମୋର କୋଉ memory ନାହିଁ. partner ରୁ ବାପାଙ୍କର transfer ହେଲା ଛତ୍ରପୁର ତାଙ୍କର transfer ହେଇଗଲା ରାୟଗଡ଼ା ତାପରେ ନବରଙ୍ଗପୁର ତାପରେ କୋରାପୁଟ 3 ବର୍ଷ ଭିତରେ. So every 6 months, 8 months, trunk banda ho, holders banda ho, was So 3 ବର୍ଷ ବୟସ ପରଠୁ ମୋର memory ନବରଙ୍ଗପୁର ରାୟଗଡ଼ା କୋରାପୁଟ memory ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା. I am 66 today. Okay? So 63 years. 63 years, not my journey, but the journey of the state. How do you you're making me emotional actually. How will I tell you? ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ 8 ବର୍ଷ ବୟସରେ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ଆସିଲି କୋରାପୁଟ ଧରାଇକି ଆସିଲି ସ୍କୁଲ ଯାଉନଥିଲି କୋରାପୁଟ ସ୍କୁଲ ନଥିଲା ଘର ପାଖରେ କୋରାପୁଟରେ ତ ଅଟୋ ରିକ୍ସାର ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ନଥିଲା that କୋରାପୁଟ we didn't have water or electricity at home. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆସି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରେ I thought I'm on a different planet. କାହିଁକି ରାସ୍ତା ଗୁଡାକ ସବୁ ଟାର୍ଡ ରୋଡ କୋରାପୁଟରେ ରାସ୍ତା ନଥିଲା କୋଲ୍ ଟାର୍ଡ ରୋଡ ସବୁ ଡାୟଗୋନାଲ laid out and first time ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି ମାଣିବିହାରରେ ଭାଇ ଲେକ୍ଚରର ଥିଲେ ତ କ୍ୱାର୍ଟର ମିଳିଥିଲା ସେଠି ଆସି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲି ଦେଖିଲି ଗୋଟେ ସୁଇଚ ଟିପିଲେ ଲାଇଟ୍ ଜଳୁଛି. This is 1965 1964 ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ଦିଟା ଟାଉନ ବସିଥିଲା ଦିଟା ମାଣିବେରୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହୁଏ ଲିଙ୍ଗରାଜ ମନ୍ଦିର ଯାଏ, ଗୋଟେ ଏପଟୁ ଯାଏ ଗୋଟେ ସେପଟୁ ଆସେ, ORT ବସ୍ ଦିଟା ଥିଲା। Other thing I saw is water tank ବୋଲି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ, ଦେଖିନଥିଲି water tank, ବାଣୀବିହାର water tank ଥିଲା, ଏବେ ବି ଅଛି। I was so fascinated, ମୁଁ ଯାଇକି ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ ଛୁଆ କୋରାପୁଟରୁ ଆସିଛି, ତା ତଳେ ଯାଇକି ବସୁଥିଲି ସେମାନେ, ସ୍କୁଲ ଆଡମିସନ ହେଇନଥିଲା, ଘରେ କାମ ଦାମ ନଥିଲା। So electricity switch ଜଳିଲେ ଘରେ ଆଲୋ ଜଳୁଛି, tap ରୁ ପାଣି ଆସୁଛି, it is beyond comprehension. Now I am telling that this is not my story, this is the story of the state. Right? Say to Asiki, and my whole upbringing has been apna kahile mo etu admission hala, tapre etu 5th class admission hala, 6th class belu Baleswar, tapre Keonjhar, tapre Chhatrapur, tapre back to Keonjhar, and I finally finished my high school in DR High School, Keonjhar. Now, so for me I'm seeing Odisha in a cinemascope, okay, and surround sound. And my journey is not my journey. My journey is all those people, right, that journey together. It's very, very difficult to say that. What was your question? What was the experience? How will I tell you what's the experience? The experience, if I were still to say, I think it's an experience of amazement. It's an experience of human possibilities. My mother became blind. When she became blind, Odisha re di jona akhi doctor thile. Jone ki akhi doctor thile? Akhi porikha kari korthile. She didn't have access to treatment. Right? Where was I born? I was born in a government house where, the partner, institutional birthing boli konosi jinsa nathi. So I was born in a government quarter. Jane bhai ma asikari katile. Okay? So Bunsen burner boli gote jinsa hla. Se pani garam hala, gote Dettol asila, gote razor pinaki asla, se tu nahi kata. So I come from that Odisha. So we are lucky to be alive. We are lucky to be here and now. We are lucky to be able to say, I'm not part of the problem, I'm part of the solution.
How do thought of co-founding the Mount 9 organization like 9 What was the motivation behind it?
I was 40. I made a wrong career move. So my move Wipro କାମ କରୁଥିଲି, and Wipro 10 ବର୍ଷ କାମ କଲା ପରେ ଟିକେ ଅହଙ୍କାର ହେଇଗଲା. So I thought that America will be well guest. Mr. Premji is a very unusual leader. Tanku apna muh mein jawab de paribe, tanku I don't agree with you koi paribe, so you take all that, let's try. So I was very successful. Çünkü Ankara. So I said that I have had enough. I will now work for a multinational company. And I actually I told Mr. Premji that I'm going. So Mr. Premji mate kahile je don't go. Where you want to go? So I said, I can't work with you. Bhal lagla suniyo, but I heard of why? We are very different people. She called it, that is why we should work together. Second answer here is where, you cannot handle politics. It's very perceptive. So you may have any talent and capability. Where you are going, okay? These companies, you have to manage politics. It's not enough to know your worth. Apne office with politics, the political dynamic. So, wherever the grass looks green on the other side. Business class, 5-star hotel, but it is not politics. Actually, you will not be able to do it. And it took me less than 30 days to realize that I have made a serious mistake. Wipro, chhadi Here I realized that, I'm in the wrong place. I'm 40. So what's the option? And India, it is 1999, newly liberating. Okay? The software industry is on the cusp of things. It's going to take off. And I said that rather than now go look for the comfort of a job, if I'm really worth something, okay? So if I really have any gut, so bahaduri gari ki Mr. Pension, whatever kotha kari. So if I have an iota of capability, then do your own thing. So I came home and I told Susmita that chakri over. I don't want to go back to work also. So what do you think? Now I had a track record of a failed entrepreneurship. So 28 ବର୍ଷ ହେଇଥିଲା କଲିକତାରେ କାମ କରୁଥିଲି at a startup called Project 21 3 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ବନ୍ଦ ହେଇଗଲା. So I actually thought that Susmita will say in ଦିଟା ଝିଅ ବଡ଼ ବଡ଼ ହେଇଗଲେଣି ସ୍କୁଲରେ ପଢୁଛନ୍ତି ଘରେ ବୁଢୀ ମା ଅଛି ବୁଢୀ ମୁଣ୍ଡ ଖରାପ ହେଲାଣି. But for some, and she ମନା କଥା ମୁଁ କହିବି, for some reason she says, yeah, I think you should do it. So I actually was stunned to hear that. Because ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ startup ଟା fail କଲା କଲିକତାରେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଘର ଭଡ଼ା ଦେବାକୁ ପଇସା ନଥିଲା. It's very difficult to come out of a failed startup. So I was very surprised and said, so this is a moment of destiny. She said, I know who I should be actually doing this. So she said, who? I said, Krishna Kumar. KK was my colleague in Wipro. So I said, shall I give you a call? She said, yeah, call. I picked up the phone. I said, KK, do you want to eat lunch tomorrow? So she said, yes. So we met at Karavali restaurant in Bangalore next day. And I said, KK was extremely successful. Extremely successful. So I said, let's discuss life script. What next after this week? Good till lunch, destiny changed. That's how it happened.
So after L&T took over 90, you could have formed another company. But you choose
I was here already.
you choose to
Nisa,
return to Odisha and serve your native state. Why?
ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟଲି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଆନ୍ସର ଦେବି. ଜଣେ ଆମର ଡକ୍ଟର ମଧୁସୂଦନ ପତି ଥିଲେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, who was a highly respected professor of English. ଭୀମ ଭୋଇଙ୍କୁ ଇଂଲିଶ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେଟ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି. So ଡକ୍ଟର ମଧୁସୂଦନ ପତି ବଲାଙ୍ଗୀରରେ ରହନ୍ତି. ସେ ବଡ଼ ଭାଇଙ୍କର କ୍ଲାସମେଟ୍. 40 days into my job here as chairman of Skill Development Authority, ଦିନେ ଅଫିସରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିଲେ. ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ 50 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲା ଦେଖିନି, ତାଠୁ ବି ବେଶୀ. ଧୋତି ପିନ୍ଧିଛନ୍ତି, ପୁରା ତକ ତକ ଚେହେରା, ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡସମ୍, despite his age. ମୁଁ ତ ଚିହ୍ନି ବି ପାରିଲି ନାହିଁ. So ପରିଚୟ ଦେଲେ. कहले ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ତତେ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ଆସିଛି. Are you all right? Are they treating you okay? କାହିଁକିନା ସିଏ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହେଇପଡ଼ିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ସାରା ଜୀବନ କାମ କରିଛି, ରେପୁଟେସନ କରିଛି, ଭଲ କମ୍ପାନୀ ତିଆରି କରିଛି, ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ଲୋକ ଚିହ୍ନିଛନ୍ତି, ୟାର ମୁଣ୍ଡ ଖରାପ ହେଲା, ଏଠି ଆସି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲା, ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟରେ କାମ ଏଇତ they will chew you and spit you out. So are you all right? ହସି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଦାଦା ବୋଲି ଡାକେ. If somebody told me to trade these 40 days with the 40 years that I have left behind, I'll not give these 40 days back. There is a karan achi. When you work with the government, you realize that you push something by a centimeter, you push the needle by a centimeter in the private sector, you will move things by an inch. But you push things by a centimeter in the government, you will move things by a mile. That's the difference. nobody can give you scale and nobody can give you the joy of working at the bottom of the pyramid. ଆପଣ କହୁଥିଲେ ସେ ନାନୀ ଇନକମ୍ ପିଲାଟି ତାକୁ ତ ମୁଁ ଚିହ୍ନିନି ଜାଣିନି I have no idea. But ସେଇ ପିଲାଟି ଆଉ ପଛକୁ ଫେରିକି ଯାଏନି ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ ନୂଆପଡ଼ା ଝିଅଟି କଥା ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଲି ସେ ଝିଅ ଯିଏ ଦୁବାଇରେ ଅଛି ସେ ପଛକୁ ଫେରିକି ଯାଏନି. Private sector doesn't give you that. You may get money, you may get fame, you may get anything. Right? So, on top of it, I must tell you, I was flooded with affection in this thing. In life, sometimes you have to decide between love and admiration. And you are told to choose between the two. You will not get both. You want to be loved or you want to be admired. I was awash in love. And so that explains. The other thing is, to me, money is a means to an end. Right? So, your questions, I could have said, okay, so why not start here on the count? But the joy of being here, the joy of working at the bottom of the pyramid, the joy of being given the love of an entire state, it's just magical.
Sir, you placed 340 crore to Odisha government and for the report of Odisha for the cancer care center and palliative care center.
Dine Jiba,
Yes,
Yes,
I want to show you.
we have spoken.
Bharatari Puja Fortune Dr. Sinha.
Oh,
So they will see the first patient I think in May, June. So one of these is when you're free, just go and see it.
So both these centers were to be inaugurated by August.
The inauguration actually, formal inauguration will be sometime in November.
Okay.
But yeah, they're on track actually a little ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So cancer hospital will building of Puja Bharatari, Susmita and I will have nothing to do with the hospital. It will be run by the Shishwakara Cancer Foundation. Our philosophy is you make available your resources and you walk away from it. Now, they will start, as I was telling you, they will start seeing patients sometime from May, June. And they will start having inpatients sometime probably July, August, September. It will be one of the largest hospitals in the entire country. Adjacent to it is Karunashram. Karunashram which is palliative care. Palliative care, they have crossed, I think, more than 4,000 home visits by now. The center is under construction, but they're operating from that Gornamunda place to J building room. And a trained set of people, about 16 people trained in Bangalore. They're doing door-to-door palliative care, pain management, wound dressing, etc. And they're doing a great work. So both these sectors together, the palliative care center and the cancer, if you look at the totality of it, it will be one of the largest single cancer care facilities in the entire country. So I think, I think like what Bangalore is to IT, Odisha can be for healthcare. And when you say proof of concept or template, I think the template has been cracked. And I wish that medical entrepreneurs come from this.
So how do you think, and why do you think Odisha will be the next health hub of India?
It should be, it can be. First of all, I think the medical talent from the state is admired everywhere. Okay. The doctors that we create are world class. ସେମାନେ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ନାହାନ୍ତି, ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ନାହାନ୍ତି, ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ବାହାରେ ନାଁ କରିଛନ୍ତି, ଭଲ କାମ କରୁଛନ୍ତି. But we need to build the Devi Shettis of the world. It's one thing to be a well-paid, money-making good doctor, or not money-making, but a very good doctor. Otherwise, there are great people like Dr. Vidyut Das who don't care about money. it's one thing to be all that, but it is another thing to be a medical entrepreneur. I think if we have, and there are medical entrepreneurs now, Dr. Pandachan, KCG Pandachan, and Joe, Dr. Karatachun, Sujata Karaju, what is the hospital in Cuttack? So a lot of medical entrepreneurs have come up. Again, the template exists. But I think we now need to say that we'll build world-class hospitals which will attract patients from outside Odisha. It's a very different ballgame, right? So that I see as a distinct possibility. And I hope and wish that young Odia doctors, both women and men, should now think about medical entrepreneurship. And the government's policies are very, very, very proactive to support, healthcare. So they should take advantage of it. The state is ready. The opportunities are huge. Odisha has a reputation now. Reputation, all natural medical science, okay. Probably 1/3 of the patients are not from Odisha. That's okay.
COVID patients in hospitals of Odisha are from West Bengal. So even small nursing homes in Cuttack, and they are advertising, publicizing, they have their holdings in Bengal.
COVID is not a blocker border. It was a disaster for patients from Jharkhand and patients from West Bengal. We should not see that as a nuisance. I think a ailing, suffering human being anywhere needs to be taken care of. But it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Huge opportunity. And we have the talent, we have the capability, we have the service mentality. So Odisha should seize the opportunity.
So, back to IT. Don't you think Bhubaneswar is failed as an IT city? Because in the early 90s, we had thought of.
No, Bhubaneswar is not failed.
Because Hyderabad.
We know Bhubaneswar software export is more than Delhi's software export.
But we expected more than Hyderabad.
Expect to jaa expect.
I mean,
what an important କଥା ଆମର ସେ ମାଇଣ୍ଡସେଟ୍ ରୁ ବାହାରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ଯେ ବାହାର ଲୋକ ଆସିକି ମ୍ୟାଜିକଟା ଏଠି ଲଗାଇବ ଡିଲଏଟ୍ ଆସିବ ବୋଲି ଆମେ ବସିବା she needs to start an IT based IT enabled company and she has to start with employing 20 people who one day will become 2,000 people. Narayan Murthy is a Kannadiga and Infosys happened in Karnataka. We need to produce those people. But that template, that IT company or call center company, that template is over, that story is over. Aji IT, there is more IT in that cell phone and he is using software far more with his video recording that he is doing here in the post-production that he will do. There is more complexity that he will handle. Aji jodi gote mane Vibhu Mahapatra ko apna mane chinchan Vibhu Mahapatra ki he is somebody. Mu pachali je now millions and millions of high fashion things he sells. Mukherjee, you must be having a very sophisticated customer, sales solution to be able to manage your high fashion business. You'll be surprised most of the business happens through Instagram. Okay. Point I'm trying to tell you is that old template of IT company is over. So you need to actually have local entrepreneurs, right? It's not the government's job to build entrepreneurs. It's society's job to build entrepreneurs. Premjis of the world, the Narayan Murthis of the world, they're not created by government of Karnataka. So, local Odia entrepreneurs will scale new models not to build IT companies, but using IT to build companies. Odia mane jani nahanti je there's a very strong biotech startup movement. Apan mane janichu. Now, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସାମାଜିକ ସ୍ୱୀକୃତି ଦରକାର। ଏବେ ବି if I'm a politician, I'll get more interest from the average Odia reader of Indian Express. If I'm an actor, if I'm a IS officer, if I'm a doctor, whoever. How many Odias actually know about Odias who are doing biotech startups? They'll be celebrated in Bangalore. Moment we start celebrating them, they will proliferate. But I tell you, she craves social recognition ahead of everything else. If she feels socially recognized as an entrepreneur tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and we breed hundreds of them, there will be a revolution of sorts. So we should not moan about Deloitte asila ki, IBM asila ki, so you're building that model is gone. It is actually the world is moving so fast, right? So we need to build companies in a variety of sectors with local entrepreneurship, using IT as a utility. IT today is like water and electricity. IT is not standalone. So we need to build that. And by the way, I completely disagree that we have failed. Bhubaneswar IT export is more than Delhi's IT export. You go and find the data out.
But sir, these are the companies, Infosys and Deloitte. They are experts.
Again I'm telling you, don't expect the outsider to come and do magic here.
I meant to say that we failed to provide the kind of infrastructure in government.
No. Mindtree Mindtree today employs 36,000 people, probably more than that. Okay? Is the fifth most valued company in the stock exchange in the IT sector. Mindtree start Setikara secretariat authority 15 minutes. Authority 15 minutes. The point I'm trying to make is, it's a wrong impression that government has to be the catalyst, right? Sometimes yes, only sometimes. But it is the society that has to be the catalyst. Mo batch re Odisha re ଦୁଇ ଜଣ entrepreneur ବାହାରିଛି. ମୁଁ ଆଉ ମୋର ଜଣେ ବନ୍ଧୁ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କ ନାଁ ଅନୁପ ମହାପାତ୍ର. ମୁଁ ତ ବାହାରକୁ ଚାଲି ଅନୁପ ବାବୁ ତ ଏଠି ରହିଲି. ଆମ ପୁରା ବ୍ୟାଚ୍ ତାଙ୍କର ବାହାଘର ଲାଷ୍ଟ ହେଲା. ଝିଅ ଦେଲେନି କି ସିମ୍ପଲ. ବିଜନେସ୍ କରୁଛି, ଓକିଲ ହେଲା ପଛେ ଦେବେ ଝିଅ, ହୋମିଓପାଥିକ ଡାକ୍ତରକୁ ବି ଝିଅ ଦେବେ. ବିଜନେସ୍ ମାନେ ଚୋର, ବୁଡେଇ ଦବ ଝିଅକୁ ନେଇକରି, ଚୋରି କରିବ, ବୁଡେଇ ଦବ, କଳା ବଜାରୀ କରିବ. So that was the template. So we need to break that mold. It is not government. Mu sabubale young entrepreneur man ko kahe that 80 particularly karo Odisha that less you love the government, more the government will love you. Secretariat samre khele apan ko dara apan naran murti produce kar peribe. JRD Tata is not a child of the government. Apan gote simple jinsa mu kahe. Aji jo Tata, Birla, Ambani, yes, सब हिचंती. Rajasthan has produced all these people now. Right? Rajasthan, Gujarat has produced. Emane jitbale arambho karthile. You talk about the top business families of the country. Co government thila, co policy thila. Lutta kamal leke asthile, and they would migrate. आज जदि ओडिया पिला बेंगलोर रु फेरी आसबे आईटी पिला बेंगलोर ता बंद हेजी ओके मु जतबेले थिली माइंड्रे सतबेले लखे आईटी इंजीनियर थिले बेंगलोर ओडिया पिला एबे आउरी बहुत थिले 5 गुण अधिक थिले दे हैव टू कम बैक एंड यू डोंट स्टार्ट बाय सेइंग गवर्नमेंट में जमी दो कि नहीं से दिनो काला गलानी आजी यू कैन एक्चुअली स्टार्ट ए बिजनेस from a 2-bedroom apartment. All you require is connectivity. Right? So, We need to see a social revolution here. We need to understand that governments don't create entrepreneurs. It's a false notion actually. Society has to create entrepreneurs. Rajasthan is a society, Gujarat is a society, right? And you require that kind of mindset.
Sir, last set of questions, of course. We'll talk a little bit about philanthropy.
I'm uncomfortable talking more.
That's why it's left for the end part of it. If I'm not wrong, in 2022 you donate more than Mr. Gautam Adani entirely. What's second this person? 2021, of course, everybody knows about the donation for the cancer center and the palliative center. I mean, I read somewhere the giving back thing. I mean, how did it start and when? I mean, when did it click?
Mind you, when we realized that it will actually reward us beyond expectations. Mind you, the founder manager, I start in the beginning. Basically, I liquidated my provident fund and my whatever savings I had. So 1999 Sabu provident fund gratuity Sabu giving it 56 lakhs. So 56 lakhs is what I put in Mindtree. Okay. Now, Subroto Bagchi बहुत successful है, मैं बहुत भला, मैं बहुत competent, है ना? So 56 lakh था, 5.6 crore. If it becomes 560 crores, does that money really belong to me? Up, मैंने 56 लाख टका 5 कोटी टका है. Okay, I can still say, oh, I am very smart, I am very capable. And I also work very hard. So it because I switch off the light and akhi band karke bhabi 5 society meeting the real asta. She put was am I really the owner of that? So a time comes when you realize that a lot of wealth that gets created was not because of you. ମୁଁ आरंभ कली कंपनी आपण मान को पूरी टैलेंटेड लोक आसले सेमान सांग रे काम कले एम्प्लॉइज माने आसले कस्टमर्स माने आसले सप्लायर्स माने आसले समस्त मिसी के तो जिनस ताला सो इट वाज नॉट माय हार्ड वर्क और माय स्मार्टनेस alone. Then the question is, if this money truly is not your money, you didn't create it, then where should that money go? It should go one of two places. It should go, money is a regenerative resource. You need to do something with that money. You need to actually use money for the larger good, and you can do that by creating employment. Apan janko na kahile, wo sang compare kale. He may not have given money for charity, but he has created employment. So you have to give credit to that.
Yes.
Okay. So either you put that money for building capital for creating jobs, or you put that money to address an important social issue. Go to a cancer hospital is a very expensive thing. There are mathematics जे अपन जो world class cancer hospital करके per bed 2 कोटी का 2 crores. So where will that money come from? Sankara Cancer Foundation bonus to asibo gahi. Kemiti asi? It's an impossible thing. So somebody has to bankroll that. So Susmita and I decided that we will actually be an agent of intervention with our resources. We'll say, okay, Sankara, okay, Karuna sir, you come to, we know that you are good people, you are nationally good, okay? You please come to Bhubaneswar, and yes, it economically will not make sense to you. So here is the money. You start. And in the process, what is happening? We are basically liquidating the burden that we get. Okay. So 5 koti tanka, 56 lakhta 5.6 crores is not a burden. Right? ଆପଣ convince କରିପାରିବେ ଯେଟା ମୁଁ hard work କରି କରିଛି. But anything beyond that is a burden. You know, one day I was listening to Ravindra Sangeet, and it's a sentence in a song that hit me. Se କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିଛି ଯେ ଯିବା ଆଗରୁ 3ଟା ଜିନିଷ ତମକୁ ଫେରେଇକି ଯିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ. ଭଗବାନ କହୁଛି 3ଟା ଜିନିଷ ମୋର ନୁହଁ, 3ଟା ଜିନିଷ ତମେ ଦେଇଥିଲ. କ'ଣ 3ଟା ଜିନିଷ? ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଶ୍ୱାସ. ଆପଣ ମା ପେଟରେ ତ ବ୍ରିଥ୍ କରୁନଥିଲେ, ଅକ୍ସିଜେନ ସିଲିଣ୍ଡର ଲାଗିଥିଲା ହେଲା. ଆପଣ the moment you arrived, breath was given to you. Breath doesn't belong to you, right? The breath was given to you. So swasa. Second is the dhoni. अपने माँ पेटू बाहर की आगो कुआं कुआं ही कांदिले माँ पेटू तो काम नथले. से धोनी टा आपको उड़े बाहर की उड़े दे दला. श्वास धोनी तो चेंजला बित्ता wealth. So this breath is not mine, okay, the voice is not mine, and the wealth is not mine. And if I don't, nobody has taken this one. ଆପଣ ଚାଲିଯିବା ଆଗରୁ ଆଗ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଧୋନିଟା ବନ୍ଦେଇଛି, ତାପରେ ଶ୍ୱାସଟା ବନ୍ଦେଇଛି ହେଲା, ତାପରେ ଆପଣ ଡିମ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟରେ କେତେ ଅଛି. So if you want to travel light into afterlife, okay, it's very important to travel light into afterlife. You shouldn't carry luggage, and you have to square up. So dhoni ko phirela padibo, swasa ko phirela padibo, vitta mante phirela.
Philanthropy is when you are into healthcare always. Has it something to do with your past experience starting from?
No, it was just a call. I say both of our family cancer.
Not necessarily cancer.
I've seen blindness with my mother. I've seen mental health with my father. But see, I'll tell you, Monuko Asla. Then I'll take 2 more minutes. Apno touch kole God tum koyo kole. Delhi ro conference hoto, sarkari conference. Jone bhadra logo enormously sarkar ko gaali dei chalchu. Okay. You want to have a question to ask, but you have a 30-minute question. Sorry. Government, this government, that. Finally, I lost my cool and I said, I want to ask you a question. The question is, when you were a little boy, who gave you your inoculation, your first vaccination? Okay. So that man said, what is the connection? I said, the connection is, if you didn't get that, you would be standing here to ask all these questions and make this noise. So you BCG tika ta apna nale cholera school re asi TBC cholera injection dei jata. Se to bonchi ke tiya mein aschu. So now we'll say that healthcare government has to do. Not an 5-star hotel karibu, 5-star hospital karibu. If we have the capability, we have the money, we have the resource, we have to join hands with the government. जो गवर्नमेंट आपको टीका देथिला बोले आपण से बंचन टीकाटा नथल बंची न. ओके वैक्सीन रे की वैक्सीन दला कोविड रे से गवर्नमेंट दला तबरे हम सब भूली गए. तबरे मोर कैपिटल हॉस्पिटल लोक मरंतु बंचंतु से आचार्य हरियर रो अवस्था जाई तो आई एम नॉट रिस्पांसिबल फॉर. यू कांट से दैट. सो health for this 1.5 billion people is responsibility of people like women. We have to say, what can I do? India is the disease capital of the world. Non-communicable disease today is killing more people than communicable disease. Okay? If India is the disease capital of the world, right, we have responsibility.
Sir, question linked to that. Country like India, we know the demography and the vast inequality that we have across sectors.
No, Jibata.
The public sector spending on the social sectors is very huge. I mean, it's obviously for all these various reasons. So, which is why private philanthropy plays a very key role. I mean, how did that shape up in India in the last few years, right? In your experience?
So I think we need to give more. Okay, but I must tell you something which won't strike normally. Why don't people give? People sometimes don't give because they don't know about it, they don't see the responsibility, or they don't see the avenue, like connected. But people also don't give sometimes when they don't feel safe. ଆପଣ ଧରନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ଟାଉନ କୁ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ, ଯେକୌଣସି ଟାଉନ କୁ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ, ଇଜିଲି ଦେର୍ ଇଜ୍ somebody who can 20 ଲକ୍ଷ 50 ଲକ୍ଷ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ଅଛି, upper middle class family ଅଛି, ଆପଣ ଯଦି ଦେଲେ ଆଗ କଣ ହବ, you will get attention. ଆରେ କୋଉଠୁ ଆସିଲା ପଇସା, ଏଠିକି ଅଛି ନା ଆଉ କଣ ଅଛି, you will get attention of all kinds and people are scared of it. Particularly our state, we are not comfortable about attention on matters of money. Right? If you want to give in any significant way, right, people will know. And that's a very uncomfortable feeling. We as a society need to remove that. Another thing I must tell you is this discomfort about attention also has got to do with color of money. I have filed income tax return every year. Most of the years I get a refund, and I've never had to talk to any income tax officer anywhere ever in my life. So I have no issues. Apano dharantu je I have not had governance in my life, right? And suddenly I give 20 lakhs of rupees, and next day you get an income tax notice. Why go into all that? So and I don't want you to write that I said all these things. I'm telling you as friends, a lot of people don't give because they feel uncomfortable of attention, uncomfortable about, it will change. Somehow I say it will change.
How does it compare with, let's say, countries like the US or
US has, I tell you, many of the things that we learned as a couple is from our experience in the US. US, Europe, Western countries where giving begins very small. ମୁଁ ଯେବେ ପ୍ରଥମ ଆମେରିକା ଗଲି, ମୋର ଗୋଟେ କଷ୍ଟମର ଥିଲେ କମ୍ପାନୀ କଲ୍ Tandem, ତାର chairman. He was the first man to come out with a fault-tolerant computer in the world, and he set up a company. ସେତେବେଳେ $2 billion, ମାନେ Fortune 500 company ଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ. ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ଲୋକାଲ ଯୋଉ ତାଙ୍କର ପଞ୍ଚାୟତ ସମିତି ବୋଲି କହନ୍ତି, ତାର ସ୍କୁଲର ଚେୟାରମ୍ୟାନ୍ ଥିଲେ, ସରକାରୀ ସ୍କୁଲର ଚେୟାରମ୍ୟାନ୍. And ନାକୁ ଚେୟାରମ୍ୟାନ୍, every month go and spend 5 or 6 hours to the school board, right? So you feel responsible. ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ ଛୁଆ ସେ ସ୍କାଉଟ ଗାଇଡ କୁକି ଘର ଘର ବୁଲିକି ବିକ୍ରି କରିବେ, ଆଉ କଣଟା ଆଣିବେ, $2 $4 ନେଇକି ଆସିବେ, ହେଲା, ବାପା ମା ସେ ଛୁଆ ପଛରେ ଚାଲିବେ, ହେଲା. So that is your initiation into the idea that I belong to a community. I have to do. Etike ho. It gets ingrained. That's not the case with us. Second thing is, ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ସୁସ୍ମିତା, ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଆଗରୁ ବି କହିଛି, our philosophy has been that you give your resources and you walk away from it. We learned it from that country. World, one of the most respected cancer hospitals is Sloan Kettering. ଦି ଜଣ ଲୋକ ଥିଲେ, ମିଷ୍ଟର ସ୍ଲୋନ୍ and ମିଷ୍ଟର କ୍ୟାଟରିଂ। ସେ ହସ୍ପିଟାଲ ତାଙ୍କ ଆଗରୁ ବି ଥିଲା, ମାର୍ଶାଲ ହସ୍ପିଟାଲ ବୋଲି ତାକୁ କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା। ସ୍ଲୋନ୍ କ୍ୟାଟରିଂ ଆସିଲେ, they wrote a check and walked away. That's how Sloan Catering became what it is. Okay. Psychology, you must have that breed of philanthropy where you don't get attached to money. In America, there are thousands and thousands of such examples. Buddha Abdi asle pila pili achanti padichanti kon nai au 5 varsh 10 varsh manchi asle Stanford University check ta kati. Nobody knows who they are. Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, these kinds of world-class institutions have been built with anonymous money. As well, they were challenged. Nobody knows. We're very inspired with that. And so, the comfort of making money and giving and not have the discomfort of attention. Okay. That's one thing. Second is the ability to write a check and walk away from it. Chitra, we will not be on the board of these people, will not be trustees. We don't want to ever come back. Okay. And we don't want our photograph there. We could have get to Fulamara.
So it was absolutely.
No, I'm honored. I'm honored.
An honor to have you here. I wanted to ask you one last question. Have you ever thought about joining politics?
No. No. I know, the press has been very disappointed with me. Because I'm like, I don't get that philanthropy. I'm seriously planning after the body headline. Politics is a serious business and you should join politics early. Politics, acting and sports. Now, it's not always a good idea to enter late. Okay. And it's a very demanding, very, very demanding profession. Not profession, I should call it, I should say calling, not a profession. It's if I should have done it, then I should have done it in my 20s and I didn't have any click for it. And just because you speak well, television or something, COVID, that doesn't mean that, you should be in politics. It never had any chance for me.
Okay.
I have great admiration for politicians. I think they do a very difficult job. And it requires special competences. Our kotha koi na.
Yes.
But a sarpanch, jodi apna habe, it's non-trivial. It is easier to start Infosys than to become a village sarpanch. ଆପଣ ସେ ରାତି 4ଟାରୁ ଲୋକ ଆସିବେ, ରାତି 2ଟା ବେଳେ ଆପଣ ଶୋଇବେ, ଆପଣ କହିପାରିବେନି ଯେ ଆପଏଣ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ନେଇଛନ୍ତି କି ନାହିଁ। ଇମେଲରେ ଲେଖିଦେବେ, ମୁଁ ଏବେ ତ କହିଦେବେ, ଆଚ୍ଛା ଫୋନ ଉଠେଇବେନି, ଅନନୋନ୍ ନମ୍ବର ଫୋନ ଉଠେଇବେନି, ଆପଣ ଏମଏଲଏ ହେଲେ ଅନନୋନ୍ ନମ୍ବର ଫୋନ ଉଠେଇବେନି। So it's very, very demanding, very tough. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.